All right, of course, we will bring you the very latest there in terms of, that voting. If you just missed it and if you just joined us, of course, City of Johannesburg has now got a new mayor by the name of Kabelo Gwamanda, also from Al-Jama-ah. Thapelo Ahmed was also a mayor from Al-Jama-ah, and we'll get the very latest from our reporter who is on the ground for us. Mbalenhle Mthethwa is there, and she's been speaking to various candidates before voting took place. Of course, Kabelo Gwamanda was up against the DA's Mpho Phalatse, as I said earlier, and ActionSA's Funzi Ngobeni. In fact, we do have an analyst that we can continue to take this conversation forward. Khanyi Magubane joins me now via Zoom. Khanyi, thank you so much for your time. So let's discuss this now. Of course, developments, in the city of Johannesburg. We now have a new mayor, and as small political parties would say, it's another victory for them, with the new mayor also coming from Al-Jama-ah by the name of Kabelo Gwamanda. Talk to me about your reaction about this.
Well, I think that it's quite surprising that they've gone all the way around to have Kabelo elected now as a mayor, and not too long ago we had Thapelo, who resigned just a day before his motion of no confidence. And so my question is, what was the point if we're going to end up with an Al-Jama-ah candidate in any case becoming the new mayor of Johannesburg? We know that Thapelo has been criticized heavily for passing budgets in the city of Johannesburg and coming across as a political infant, so to speak, someone that is not politically matured. And again, we have the same situation now, somebody that is not politically matured. Very little is known about the new mayor. And the question is, how effective will this new mayor be in terms of taking executive decisions, in terms of understanding municipal processes? Will there be an onboarding process? I assume so. But the most important comment I want to make, Onati, is that it seems every time we make some progress, we take 5-10 steps back as a municipality. I mean, we don't just have to go through all the mayors that we've had just this year alone. And my question is, will this final appointment finally make way for stability in the city of Johannesburg? Will we finally see the EFF-ANC alliance, which has pushed forward this Al-Jama-ah candidate, finally signaling some type of stability, or will we continue facing more motions of no confidence in this new candidate, Kabelo, that has just been appointed today? We can only wait and see, but definitely a young man. I'm seeing him quite chuffed. Mpho Phalatse, they're running over to him quite quickly to congratulate him. So a sense of, this young politician coming through and filling quite big, shoes. And the question is, will he be able to do the job? That is something we just have to wait and see.
I mean, you mentioned, the fact that he is young and the fact that he is relatively new at this, Khanyi. It sounds like, what was said also when, Thapelo Ahmed took over, and I don't know if it will inspire a lot of confidence, for a lot of the citizens of Johannesburg. You also mentioned there that hopefully this would mean that we see a stable, Johannesburg. But let's talk about what we were seeing behind the scenes in terms of just the negotiations between different political parties. Of course, we know that the DA, ActionSA, Patriotic Alliance, IFP, ACDP, to name just a few, were in coalition talks. And of course, hearing later on that the PA was actually, proposing that its Deputy President, Khanyi Magubane, be picked as mayor. It would seem, just judging by what was happening in terms of, negotiations behind the scenes, that political parties are still very much thinking about themselves as opposed to placing residents first.
You know, Unathi, the game of coalitions is about give and take, right? So when you enter into a negotiation, there has to be a level of compromise that you're willing to go into. And one of the biggest struggles of coalitions has been that sense of compromise, where bigger parties going into coalitions have expected to retain the bigger positions of the mayor, the speaker of council, the MMC positions, and the smaller political party kind of been given more like your cosmetic positions. And yet, what coalitions have done is enable small parties like Al-Jama-ah, which is a relatively newcomer in the political landscape, opportunities to accelerate their growth and their sense of visibility to the South African public. However, the main question is, will South Africans buy into it? Because believe it or not, South Africans, or really the citizens of Johannesburg, want services. I don't think that the citizens of Johannesburg really mind or are really hard pressed about which political party the mayor comes from. What we are hard pressed about is the city going to continue, with its services? Will it continue the recovery? As I'm speaking to you, Unathi, I've had no water in my house for a week. Johannesburg Water has literally gone AWOL. They can hardly come out to attend, to the basics that are affecting citizens. And so while at the top, political parties may be playing the game of politicking and, open and shut doors, the question is, will the top decisions filter down
Khanyi,